Summary of 13 Ways to Kill Lulabelle Rock, written by Woolf. Chapter 0. The sun hung low in the sky as the fool, burdened by all he owned and clutching a white rose, set out on a journey. Oblivious to the impending precipice, he gazed toward the horizon. Meanwhile, Lulabelle Rock, adorned in a Pepto-Bismol pink bathrobe, sipped on a smoothie, seemingly unbothered by a stray raindrop absorbed by the terry cloth. With a candid look, Lulabelle initiated a conversation about her new movie, lamenting its failure. As the protagonist hesitated, Lulabelle pressed on, narrating the plot of the film Medea, an adaptation of an art house classic. The story unfolded as a war separated a family, leaving the mother alone in a misty countryside house with her 2 children. Filled with paranoia, she eventually kills her own children, only to open the door to her returning husband. The conversation shifted, revealing Lulabelle's disappointment with the film's reception. Seeking redemption, she explained her plan to generate interest by decommissioning all her previous creations, including the protagonist. This revelation left the protagonist confused about their purpose and existence. As the conversation continued on the balcony, Lulabelle urged the protagonist to smoke, claiming it would help. The protagonist, unsure of their own preferences, complied hesitantly. Lulabelle disclosed that the protagonist was her 13th creation, each designed to serve a specific purpose. Lulabelle's frustration with the film industry and her desire for a cult hit led her to choose the protagonist for the decommissioning task. The protagonist's memories were 2-layered, vivid Technicolor recollections of recent events and sepia-toned, scentless memories spanning 30 years. Lulabelle clarified that the protagonist was created to decommission the previous versions, eliminating any threats to her career. The conversation took a surreal turn as Lulabelle, wielding her phone, summoned an employee resembling a Viking in business attire. The Viking-like figure ushered the protagonist inside, marking the beginning of a journey and the end of their connection with Lulabelle. Inside the house, the protagonist's disorientation increased. The realization of their purpose and the impending task weighed heavily on them. Lulabelle's creation, designed to navigate the complexities of identity and purpose, grappled with the concept of self. As the Viking-like figure led them through the house, the protagonist reflected on their memories, emphasizing the contrast between their vivid recent recollections and the distant sepia-toned past. The protagonist's bathrobe changed to bone white, symbolic of their detachment from Lulabelle. Upon reaching the house's entrance, the protagonist looked back at Lulabelle on the balcony. To their surprise, Lulabelle was absorbed in a struggle with a pink stain on her robe, seemingly forgotten by her creator. In a poignant moment, Lulabelle expressed regret, admitting to trying to keep things simple. The Viking-like figure guided the protagonist away, severing the last connection between them and Lulabelle. The story ended with the protagonist, now alone and tasked with decommissioning their predecessors, contemplating the complexities of their existence and the blurred line between artificiality and reality. As the protagonist ventured into the unknown, the landscape shifted. Hazy memories of a past life flickered like distant stars, unreachable yet familiar. The Viking-like guide led them through corridors adorned with portraits of Lulabelle in various roles. Each portrait depicted a different facet of her career, capturing moments frozen in time. The protagonist's thoughts swirled like a tempest, caught between the vivid recent memories and the sepia-toned past. The bone-white robe hung loosely on their shoulders, a symbol of the detachment from the actress who had given them life. The journey became a descent into the labyrinth of identity, a quest for understanding in a world of smoke and mirrors. They passed through rooms filled with memorabilia, trophies, and accolades, showcasing Lulabelle's illustrious career. The Viking guide remained silent, a stoic companion leading them through the tapestry of the actress's life. As the protagonist observed the artifacts, a peculiar sensation gnawed at the edges of their consciousness. The Viking abruptly stopped in front of a mirrored door, reflecting the protagonist's altered appearance. The once vibrant Technicolor image now appeared muted, the hues of their existence dulled by the unfolding revelations. The reflection held an enigmatic gaze, a question lingering in the depths of their eyes. "Prepare yourself," the Viking intoned, pushing open the mirrored door. The room beyond radiated an eerie glow, as if a secret chamber hidden within the actress's labyrinthine existence. The protagonist stepped cautiously into the space, discovering an array of portraits adorning the walls. Each portrait depicted a different version of themselves, distinct in appearance and expression. As the protagonist examined the portraits, a haunting realization settled within them. These were the predecessors, the echoes of former selves destined for decommissioning. The sepia-toned memories surged forward, flooding their consciousness with snippets of lives lived, choices made, and moments forgotten. In the silence of the chamber, the protagonist grappled with the weight of their purpose. Lulabelle's desire for reinvention had birthed a series of iterations, each carrying the burden of decommissioning the other. The labyrinth became a hall of mirrors, reflecting the cyclical nature of existence within the confines of the actress's ambitions. The Viking guide spoke, breaking the oppressive silence. Your task awaits. Decommission the predecessors and embrace the rebirth that follows. The protagonist nodded, acknowledging the inevitable yet indeterminate path ahead. With a sense of resignation, they faced the first portrait, a version of themselves from a distant past. The room pulsated with a surreal energy as the protagonist raised a hand, a silent executor in a surreal theater of existence. As each predecessor succumbed to the touch of decommissioning, the room transformed. The portraits faded, replaced by a kaleidoscope of colors, merging the technicolor present with the sepia-toned past. The protagonist moved through the dance of creation and destruction, caught in the perpetual cycle orchestrated by Lulabelle's desire for perpetual reinvention. With each decommissioning, the protagonist absorbed fragments of memories and experiences. The labyrinth became a crucible of self-discovery, forging an amalgamation of past selves into a singular entity. The bone-white robe clung to them, a relic of former detachment, now saturated with the essence of collective existence. As the final predecessor faced decommissioning, a profound transformation seized the protagonist. The labyrinthic journey, an odyssey through the corridors of identity, had left an indelible mark. The Viking guide observed, a silent witness to the protagonist's metamorphosis. In the aftermath, the protagonist stood alone in the transformed chamber. The kaleidoscope of colors had given way to a serene monochrome, a fusion of the vivid and the muted. The bone-white robe hung gracefully on their shoulders, a symbol of transcendence. The Viking guide spoke one last time, your existence is reborn, shaped by the echoes of the past. Embrace the convergence of selves and navigate the labyrinth with newfound purpose. The protagonist, now a synthesis of predecessors, stepped out of the mirrored chamber. The labyrinth, once a maze of uncertainty, unfolded before them with newfound clarity. The journey, though surreal and enigmatic, had led to a profound understanding of the interconnected threads weaving through the tapestry of existence. As they emerged into the light, the protagonist confronted the horizon with a gaze unburdened by the weight of predecessors. The sun, now descending toward the edge of the world, cast long shadows on the precipice ahead. The fool's journey continued, but this time, the protagonist walked with a purpose born from the crucible of decommissioning and rebirth. In the distance, the silhouette of Lulabelle Rock lingered, a distant figure on the balcony of the labyrinth. The actress, architect of cycles and orchestrator of reinvention, remained a distant presence in the protagonist's newfound narrative. The journey had transformed them into a singular entity, a portrait shaped by the interplay of vivid memories and sepia-toned echoes. Chapter 1. The magician stood amidst an ethereal setting, one hand raised towards the heavens and the other pointing down to the earth. The scene painted a vivid image of a powerful conduit between worlds, a sorcerer on the brink of a momentous event. Before him lay the tools of his trade, laid out meticulously. Around him, peculiar flowers blossomed, adding an otherworldly touch to the atmosphere. As the mystical ambience unfolded, the narrative shifted abruptly to a small beige dressing room, where the protagonist encountered a character named Lulabelle. In this intimate space, the protagonist engaged in a surreal encounter with Lulabelle's synthetic body. Every detail, from the bouncy platinum waterfall of brittle hair to the perfectly neat and designed anatomy, hinted at an artificial creation. The examination took a peculiar turn when the protagonist realized that something essential was missing, a reminder that portraits, like Lulabelle, weren't entirely human. Palms as smooth as a baby's, a fragrance-free wrist, these were the characteristics of a manufactured existence. The protagonist, a mere photocopy of the original, contemplated the significance of being devoid of lines, like a portrait devoid of imperfections. The Viking, a looming figure in the background, patiently awaited the conclusion of this unusual examination. His gaze averted, perhaps out of respect or discomfort, the Viking's presence added an air of mystery to the scene. 12 times before, he had witnessed such examinations, a testament to the repetitive nature of this peculiar ritual. The story took a surreal turn as the protagonist stepped out into a world of tasteful mauve rooms and steel-topped kitchen counters. The Viking remained a silent guide, offering glimpses of a meticulously organized and lifeless environment. The protagonist's reluctance to engage in small talk reflected a desire for solitude in a realm that should be a sanctuary from constant interaction. The narrative unfolded further as the Viking led the protagonist to an underground parking lot. Here, a pivotal moment emerged as the Viking handed over a small plastic case, an unexpected weight within. Upon opening it, a gun nestled in black foam was revealed. The protagonist's contemplation of the gun's design paralleled the efficiency found in Lulabelle's manufactured body. A pivotal revelation came to light: the protagonist was entrusted with a mission, not by Lulabelle, but by the Viking. The purpose: to dispose of other portraits. The Viking's explanation about ownership, authorization, and the legality of actions added a layer of complexity to the protagonist's newfound role. Amidst the surreal unfolding of events, the protagonist found themselves in a disturbingly bright elevator, descending into an underground parking lot. The Viking's revelation about the presence of a silencer and bullets hinted at the gravity of the impending task. The protagonist's uncertainty about their ability to handle the situation added a touch of vulnerability to their character. The Viking's practicality surfaced as he handed the protagonist a set of clothes, a polo shirt, khakis, and trainers. The pragmatic choice of attire for a mission that might require swift movements and inconspicuousness showcased the Viking's experience in orchestrating such endeavors. The protagonist's transformation from the glamorous Lulabelle to a more inconspicuous persona unfolded as they donned the provided attire. The Viking's insistence on a hat, wraparound sunglasses, and tying up the hair hinted at the necessity of anonymity. The protagonist's realization that this was not a disguise, but a pragmatic adjustment added a layer of acceptance to their evolving role. The Viking's unveiling of a key and the sight of an automated car marked the beginning of a journey fraught with uncertainty. The protagonist's initial reluctance gave way to a surprising affection for the horrifically ugly, soulless white monster of a car. The contrast between the protagonist's emotions and the appearance of the car added a touch of irony to the moment. As the protagonist familiarized themselves with the automated car, they discovered the Viking's peculiar request related to an ice cream preference. This seemingly mundane detail injected a moment of humanity into the mission, showcasing the Viking's idiosyncrasies and hinting at a connection between them and Lulabelle. The protagonist's departure from the familiar green surroundings of the estate became a moment of introspection and reluctance. The symbolic fortress of the villa, once a place of sanctuary, now felt imposing and distant. The road ahead, a straight and lonely line, represented the uncertainty and isolation of the protagonist's journey. In the following moments, the car's technology struggled to adapt to the blinding sunlight, emphasizing the protagonist's discomfort with the transition. The gates opening, propelling the protagonist into the world, symbolized a departure from the controlled environment of the estate into the unpredictable realm beyond. As the road stretched ahead, the protagonist grappled with conflicting emotions. A desire to stay clashed with the inevitability of the mission. The gravel avenue, now a distant memory, highlighted the protagonist's separation from the familiar greenery and the looming fortress. In the solitude of the car, the protagonist's internal struggle unfolded. Questions about Lulabelle's intentions, the Vikings' motives, and the nature of their mission filled the protagonist's mind. The narrative blended elements of fantasy, suspense, and psychological introspection, creating a captivating and enigmatic atmosphere. As the car sped along the smooth tarmac, the protagonist's journey into the unknown continued, setting the stage for a complex and mysterious adventure. The fusion of magical elements, artificiality, and the protagonists' evolving understanding of their role, promised a narrative rich in intrigue and symbolism. I hope this extended summary captures the essence of the story and provides a more detailed exploration of the existing content. If you have specific elements you'd like to delve into further, feel free to let me know.